But Michael Kroger mentioned the polls, Michael Danby. Back to the Liberals. News poll shows their support is now down to a catastrophic 18%. Nearly, that's about half their supporters, really, since the last election, have deserted them, and almost all have gone to One Nation, it seems. What do you think is going to be the solution? Is it changing leaders to Angus Taylor?
After seeing Jane Hume's interview on your channel, Andrew, tonight, I suspect Sussan Ley will resign. It'll fall into his lap. And if you ask me, he's had a charisma bypass. He's not the person that will lead the Liberals into the future with, you pointed out his record as a shadow treasurer. But the thing I want to alert you to is, while there has been a swing against Labor, if you put them and the Greens together, the problem is with the Australian political system, the preferential system. There's no guarantee that if the One Nation runs first, that the Liberals will preference them overwhelmingly. And if the Liberals run first, that there's no indication that the One Nation will preference them first. So therefore, the opposition vote is dissipated and Labor still gets back having a 95-seat majority to start out with.
Michael Kroger, these polls, who is the saviour? If there's no one saviour, everyone's got to lift their game. There are a couple that have done tremendous work, like James Patterson, but who can lead the Liberals out of this unbelievable, catastrophic, looks like almost end-of-life situation?
Well, I think because of the dislocation over the last 9 months, it's been very hard for Sussan Ley, to be honest. And I would just urge her to get out some major policies. Immigration, obviously, is very close to being released. The coalition has to take on debt. Sussan Ley and Ted O'Brien have to take on debt. Unless you take on debt, you'll be outspent at every election by Labor running up the credit card with borrowed money, and that's what Labor do. Unless the nation is focused on debt as a problem in this country, the coalition will be outspent. It's an old three-card trick at every election. We fear, being accused of cutting things, so we refuse to cut things.
Labor outspent us, we lose.
Michael. I mean, it's an old trick.
I ask you about the leadership, and you deflect to policies that Sussan Ley may now not have time to release.
Well, we'll know probably later in the week. As you know, I've always worried that Sussan hasn't been given clear air, and the Liberal Party, there's always a price to pay for a leadership change. There's always a price to pay, right? There's structural damage which is permanent. She's been there 9 months. Gillard was there for 3 years before they got rid of their first female election. Lee's only been there 9 months, which is, I worry about the long-term damage. I look back in a year and 2 years' time, Labor saying they never gave the Liberal Party leader, the woman, a fair go. She had the National Party, she had internal critics, she had net zero, she never had clear. That's what worries me long term. But look, if you have a look at the rhetoric today, Andrew, something might happen later in the week. I mean, my friends Jane Hume and Sarah Henderson, who I like immensely, and then we've seen Professor Credlin tonight. If you add all up together, something looks like it's stirring to me.
Hang on. You're talking about two Liberal women who were sacked by Sussan Ley. Yeah, well, that's true. You're looking at two Liberal women who were sacked by Sussan Ley, have an axe to grind, and among the bomb throwers, to be perfectly blunt, who have made Sussan Ley's life hell ever since. So I wouldn't be saying, look, there they are, these paragons of virtue. They're saying the right things, I assume, and all that, but they also have a vested interest. Michael Kroger, Michael Danby, thank you very much to you both.